Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort. They try to run to whatever small corner of the world gives them gratification and comfort in the tiny little moments so that they can never have to endure and push through pain. But it is in fact pain and discomfort that shapes us into the person that we are meant to be. Recently, I was caught in a fire and burned alive. And it was the most beneficial lessons I have learned in my entire life that happened from this small split second that changed my life forever. Well, there was deep pain, discomfort, and misery. But discomfort, pain, and misery are lessons, shaped in the form of very difficult endeavors. They are hurdles that you must get over. And I was reminded throughout this time about a small story from my childhood. So let me share it with you. I was probably 10 or 11. It was the first day of summer vacation. I was stoked. 10 or 11-year-olds' first day of summer vacation are ecstatic. I remember running downstairs that very first day. It was a Saturday. I told my parents, I am so excited to do absolutely nothing every day all summer. And they kind of looked at each other a little confused and brushed it off. That was that. Well, Sunday comes along. They call me over. They say, listen, for every single day of the week, we're going to need you to work in the yard an hour a day. I was kind of taken aback. I mean, an hour a day to an adult of work that's awesome. That's nothing. But an hour a day of work for a child that thought they were going to do nothing for 3 months on end is miserable and seems like slavery. But what they told me was that in life, you have to work. There is no escaping it if you want to have security and ease in every single day. If you try to run from work and you don't understand that it is necessary in life, you will have more pain if you do not face it. And so my parents were starting an orchard in the backyard. They were growing trees so that we could have fruit to eat every year, which is pretty valuable. So it was my job for an hour a day to dig holes in the ground. In the dry ground, dig holes 10 or 11 years old and make it so that we can grow these trees. And that was one of the most valuable lessons of my entire life because I spent an entire summer putting in an hour of work 5 days a week each day when I thought things would just be smooth sailing and easy and there would be no work involved. And this had so much value that it carried on even to now, even 15 years later. It's still ingrained in my mind that life has work and it is not easy. There is discomfort. But when you learn that life has discomfort and pain, and you learn to deal with it, to roll with the punches, to hit back, you start to build yourself into this person that just reacts and handles these scenarios in the split second. And so in a split second, when I was engulfed into flames, I knew there was pain, I knew there was discomfort, and I knew to react. I ran straight through those flames. As my arm melted away, I just reacted. And then, as I lay in the hospital, as I lay in my own puddles of blood and pus throughout the days following, I remembered life is pain. It's about enduring. It's about carrying through with the steps that will make your life better, that create value in your own life. And so I was burned alive. Okay, well, that is the opening of a new chapter in my life. It ripped me out of the path I was on. Well, you know what? I wasn't happy where I was at. So what am I going to complain about? Misery and pain? Yeah, it was miserable and painful. But what I learned is that I had been training myself to react. I had been training myself to recover my body, to improve my mindset. And you know what? I fell into cycles of disaster throughout that time period. And that reminded me even more that as I sit here every single day, I constantly tell you guys, get out of the cycles that are creating bad habits. Stop eating garbage food. Stop sleeping wrong. Stop not exercising. But as I lay there, I couldn't do anything. So it was just order food. I ate shitty food. I wasn't exercising because I physically was not able to. I had to allow my body to recover. And as I lay there doing nothing, my mind started to just wither away and become depressed and anxious. And then I realized that once you're in that cycle, it starts to build a little pathway in your brain. it starts to become ingrained in your brain to just sit in your misery, hang around in it. And it feels terrible. And that's how I realize why it is so difficult for other people that are in the cycle of destruction, of destructing themselves, that it is hard to rip yourself out of it. But it's possible. I mean, I had done it once before. Once I was fat and addicted to substances and just miserable with my life, I ripped myself out of it through years of hard work and discipline. So what's a few weeks of laying around with rotting flesh and burns? What's that? Nothing. And so I ask you today, what do you really think is holding you back? What is it? And then, once you establish what it is that is holding you back, laugh at it. Because it's nothing to you. It may feel difficult. But just as you ingrained the pathway of destruction into your head through the cycles that you carry out through bad sleep, through poor diet, through lack of exercise, you can ingrain a pathway the opposite way that involves routine regiment, building yourself into the person you are meant to be. And this is your opportunity today because discomfort is not your enemy. It is, in fact, your friend. And the more you run away from discomfort, in fact, the more you find actual misery. But genuine gratification comes from pushing through difficult times, through enduring pain. So give yourself a little discomfort, because if you choose the path of discomfort, then any time life throws something at you, you will be ready, and you will handle it with the utmost ease and certainty. But if you're sitting there saying, I don't think I can do it, I don't think I can choose the life of discipline and hard work, well, no, I believe you can, because I was once someone who just sat around in my own lard, in my own misery and pathetic situation. But through years, I shaped myself into someone better. And then when life hits me with a truck, I am prepared to hit it head on. And if you're sitting there saying, well, I just don't want to chase a life of discipline. I don't want to seek hardship. I don't want to try and push hard. I'm fine where I'm at. Well, no, you are making a very dangerous trade. Because however you feel right now, if you're somewhat accepting of the misery that comes along with bad life decisions, okay. But one day life will hit you. You won't be ready. You won't be prepared. And it will tear you down. So the choice you are making is very, very costly. But you can make a change. It can be today, it can be tomorrow, could be a year from now. But I urge you to make that change this very second, because your life will change forever. The people around you will change forever. And everything gets better from here on out. I'll see you all tomorrow.